Hello, hello. Today I've decided to showcase my AR60 Genshin account. First of all, just want to apologize because all the menus are going to be kind of small. That's because I'm not home right now and I forgot to bring my mouse with me. So I've had to use my controller instead, which makes all the menus really small. I'm not sure why. I mean, I'm sure I could have messed around and figured out how to change it to how it looks with M and K, but I figured you guys would be fine. None of you are old enough. Anyone who's going to be watching this is going to be so old that they can't see what's going on the screen. Um, right. So let's start. So we'll go through my characters. So I picked up Nouvelette when he first dropped. I basically asked a friend of mine. Well, I just come back to the game and I take fairly regular breaks. I started taking them after a certain point because it's very easy to get burnt out. On gacha games in general. Genshin is not exclusive of that, so um, yeah. So I came back to the game and I had some primos, not many, like 30 wishes or something. And I asked my friend, I was like, "Oh, this character looks cool. Are they any good?" And she was like, "Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He's pretty strong." And I mean, meanwhile, that wasn't convincing enough. I thought, I don't care. I'm just gonna, I want a little bit of dopamine. I just came back to the game. I got some wishes. Fuck it. I don't even own anyone from Fontaine at this point. So I dropped some wishes and I got Nivelette pretty early. And little did I know he's absolutely fucking busted. Best character in the game. Probably will remain that way. Unless the Pyro Archon, which I have a gut feeling the Pyro Sovereign and the Pyro Archon are not going to outdo Nouvelette in his respective role, if that's how they're designed, you know, where I actually can compare them as characters. But I just can't see anybody topping Nouvelette in his area. He's literally power washing simulator with like minimal investment, like absolute minimal investment. He can do everything on his own. Um, so we'll look at some of the artifacts I have. Very nice flower. Pretty good feather. Could be better. This is probably my weakest piece for Nouvelette, is the sands. I could really do better, but I'd really, of all the domains I've ever farmed, the one with Marechaussee and Golden Troop, I've had just the worst luck, so yeah. This is actually a fairly decent piece. I did have a better piece, but I gave it to Farina, because, well, as you'll see, Farina is my favorite unit, so I gave her the best, naturally. And then a decent crown. So he's like fairly well, and then I gave him Lost Praise, which is refinement 2 as well. So he has a little bit of extra movement speed too, which is nice. Um, 58.7, 200 crit damage. Doesn't really need anything else. Bada bing, bada boom. Um, then we got Fischl. Fischl is the reason I actually started playing this game, believe it or not. Back in 1.2. Um, as you'll see, my little name card here, the hypostasis, that's from an event way back in the day. And I think there's only ever been like 2 or 3 events that Genshin's ever released where they've been genuinely difficult. Like, you've actually got to part your best teams, you've got to do a little bit of brainstorming. You might even need to bring a friend to help you out, because if you wanted to achieve like all the rewards and not just like 50% of them, like, yeah. And this was one of the first. Like, this came out, like, for how hard this event was, it came out so early in Genshin's life cycle. Me and 2 friends of mine, we we worked together to try and get like most of the achievements. And I think this like name card was like at the 70% mark of getting all the achievements. And I think we all managed to get it, and I just remember how unnecessarily hard that was considering how low level everybody was. Um, and it was scaled to a much higher AR. So there wasn't really anyone who wasn't struggling around the time this event came out. And I was really proud that we all achieved this. And I've kept it on ever since, just to signify like, you know, kind of like a time where I guess the game presented a reasonable challenge. I don't know. Not to say that, like, there's the Abyss, like, some Abyss cycles have been pretty challenging to 36 star, like, as a free-to-play. But yeah, so. Anyway, to go back to, I just completely sidetracked. So, the reason I started this game in 1.2, because I actually wanted to get official, and I had, 1.2 had just ended, and I went to 1.4, and that sort of free time where you could claim a free official had just ended, so I never actually got that free copy of official. And that came back to bite me on the ass, because I wasn't able to get a single copy until about AR 47 or 48. It was a long time before I got official. And, like, she's C6 now. But, yeah, I was kind of butthurt about that, because I think she's just such a cool looking character. She's just got a really cool design, she's got an interesting personality and stuff, and she wasn't considered to be like the best back then, but she's evolved so well with the Genshin meta, and I use it with New Valette all the time. She's so good. R4 stringless. Let's have a look at some of the artifacts. So that's probably my best flower. Like 35.7 CD is it's nothing to scoff at. Got decent feather. Pretty good sands. Yeah. That's okay. It's okay. It's not the best, but we vibe. And then that. So let's move on to Farina. So, like I said before, even though I have her C2, my account is pretty much free to play. Like, not completely free to play, because I have bought I bought one battle pass early on in the game, and two of the monthly thingies. But other than that, I haven't spent on this game, so very low spender, borderline free to play. But I'd say I've had a lot of Primo gems, like multiple patches worth to get Rena C2, because I missed her first time she came out, which, kind of stupid, but so hang on, I'll take Nivalet off the team so we don't get an inaccurate representation. So we got 35, nearly 36k health, 1.4k attack. I know the attack's not necessary. Defense, I know I got a little bit of extra defense that I probably didn't need, but what can you do? I got the Flurve on here, C5, R5. Let's have a look at the artifacts. So we got this off-piece flower. I wish I'd rolled more into HP than attack, but the crit values are too good to turn away, so I had to go with this flower. It's the best one I actually have on this account, believe it or not. We got the feather. The feather is it's a juicer. It's a good one. HP. Sorry, HP sounds. Yeah, it's decent sounds. Very proud of this goblet. This was the best I could conjure up, and what can I say? It just perfectly complements Karina. At least at C2. I did have a pretty good HP goblet on here prior to getting C2. Sorry, no. No, I got C2 all at once, but I had the HP goblet on after I got C2 for a little while, and I was like doing a little bit of research, and I realized that you ideally want Hydro damage bonus, even though it's not that great of a difference between HP. And of course, like the general consensus is the substats do take precedence. But I managed to bag this really nice Hydro damage bonus goblet with some decent substats, so win-win. Then we got this nice, fairly decent. Actually, that's nice. That's probably more than pretty decent. That's a good. But these are probably like some of my best artifacts for any individual unit on my account. So I'm very proud of my Farina. Let's have a look at the stat sheet. 60 crit rate, and of course I get the extra crit rate on my skill when because of the flurve. 184 on the crit damage, and this goes up to like 190-ish because of the flurve as well on the energy recharge. So yeah, overall she's 110-10 as well. Oh, let me look at Fish. I actually let me just go quickly back to Fischl. I triple crowned Fischl the first opportunity I had. People think I'm crazy, but you know, if they're one of your favorite units, then fuck it. And especially if you're a day one player, you have like a million fucking crowns that I'm just not gonna have them sit there for no reason. I never understood why people do that. Just collecting crowns, you know, spend them, more it comes and it goes. You know, it's not a money issue. As long as you map out what you're doing relatively efficiently, it's very doable. Where's my Evalet? Of course, my Evalet has 1099. Next we'll go on to Zhao, which would have been normally later, but I ended up putting him on the team just to replace new alert, so I wouldn't skew the results of Farina's stat sheet. 9910, he was my first 5-star I ever got. At AR45, I know that's very late, but my luck on this account was very bad in the beginning. It's kind of a wonder how I continued to play, but I guess I just really wanted one copy of Fischl. So, yeah. No cons. Still on VV, I know, very outdated, but it is what it is. These are the artifacts. And I didn't do too much farming for these, and I know, like, his domain, like, this domain is, like, one of the worst, because you tend to get maidens more than viridescent. But my artifact luck, contrary to my polling luck, was considerably better earlier on, and it kind of, like, went downhill at a certain point, but in my early Genshin, yeah, I pulled some pretty fat artifacts with minimal farming, so I can't complain. I have them on Blackcliff. Sometimes I switch them out with Staff of Homer, depending. Yeah, 66, 227. Not bad. Not bad. Next, on to Wanderer. I haven't done... Sorry, no. Zhongli. There's not really much to say about Zhongli. He's, you know, just a tanky motherfucker. 5. Tenacity. 110-10. Just had crowns the sphere, I guess. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. No. Yeah, don't even ask that I named my Wanderer Kanye. Don't even fucking ask. And I have a signature as well. If I'd known that Risley's signature is actually better for Wanderer than his own signature, then I would have pulled it. But it's not that much worse. It's still pretty good, and it looks pretty good. So I'll sell. So we got 1.8k attack. And then we have 67.8 to 202, so we got some really good ratios there. Energy recharge could have been higher, but it's not too much of an issue with Wanderer, so let's have a look at the artifacts. So we got a decent flower. So, you know, a decent feather. This is quite a nice sans. You know, just because of the crit rate, it's quite a high crit rate roll. Maybe one of my highest rolls actually. It normally doesn't go any higher than 10%, so this I was like gobsmacked. I got this on my first ever farm of the domain, and I got these pieces not like every other piece for him. Not long after either. I literally spent 600 resin getting all these pieces, so I was, you know, I was lucky to get his signature, lucky to get him on a 50-50, and then I got pretty desirable artifacts within like 3 rotations of the domain, so 600 resin. Yeah, I just got really fucking lucky with this guy, and I'm glad I actually use him. I didn't just get lucky with him and then fucking put him away. Like, he's really good for open world exploration. He's really good despite the fact that I don't use Farazan. So yeah, like, I can't complain. And we got 10, 9, 7. Onto Kazuha. So we got, you know, it's just a standard build. I have his Freedom Spawn. I was running him on Iron Sting for a while. And I decided to get him a Freedom Spawn. Because I just had some primos lying around and fuck it. Just got him on VV. No, I haven't really got to go into the artifacts there. No cons. 9, 9, and 10. Because your boy deserves a crown. At least one. And it's going to be his ult, so. Nothing crazy. But yeah, he meets the threshold of 1k Ellie Mastery. Even without Freedom Swan. So, I think, let me see. Yeah, I got 82 Ellie Mastery on this. 86 Ellie Mastery. 2 Ellie Mastery main stats, and then, sorry, 3 Ellie Mastery main stats. So. Yeah, standard Kazuha. Jean, she is C3. You know, I really like Jean. Jean is on my favorite team, which is Nivelette, Fischl, Farina, and then Jean. That team like hits like an absolute rock. It's insane. So yeah, the build is nothing crazy. Fair amount of crit. Crit damage is quite low, but you know. Very nice enemy energy recharge. Reasonable attack, reasonable HP. Got him on max refinement 5, which is very nice. And then these artifacts. I know I'm zooming through them quite fast, but you can slow the video down if you want to really dissect every part of whatever build that I'm going through. And then we got 1, 8, and 13 on the alt. Okay, next on to Eula. So, yep, I'm a Eula owner. And like most, I don't really use her anymore. Got her on Skyward Pride. Refinement 2. Because I'm not really going to have multiple copies of Skyward Pride. I don't really have anyone else. Only Garming, who's using a two-hander. Got her on Pale Flame and Bloodstained. Nothing too crazy, no cons, and 9, 9, 10. So I did invest like a lot of materials and Mora into building her up, and she's decent, 2.4k attack, and then 60 to 138. Not the best, but you know, she still smacks a big old number with her ult, and that's just about all she's good for. You know, I don't own, I think it's Mika that buffs, that is like her buffing unit, but I don't own him. And that's all she really has. I mean, there's nothing else, so she's kind of in a weird spot where she's not fucking that great to use. Ganyu, classic. I use Ganyu now more than I ever did, because I didn't want her at all when she first came out, and then I kind of like got convinced into getting her when she was still the best unit. And then not long after I got her, she slowly kind of faded into obscurity. But if built well, she still is very good. Like, she was very good in like the most recent Imaginarium Theater cycle. Like, she just, I know like it's very easy content anyway, but Ganyu just totally trivializes it. Skyward Harp. Thankfully, I don't have an Amos bow for her. The Amos bow is not that good, and I'm tired of pretending like it is. Tired of telling people, or convincing people that it's not that great for Ganyu. Even though it does look good. Like, I won't deny that. Very nice flower. And yeah. So, no cons, and then 10, 7, and 10, and then quick look at the stat sheet. Can't complain. She smacks. Ayaka, yeah. I got her when she first came out, got her signature weapon. As you can see, I went hard, 10, 10, 10. She kind of has the Mona thing going on where, you know, it's not set up in the right order like it is for everybody else, but yeah, I've kind of totally abandoned her since Freeze went to shit, and even though it still resurges from time to time and sees use, I've still also used Ayaka like enough to where even if Freeze became as relevant as it used to be, I probably still wouldn't use it, and you'll find out later on in the video why that's the case. So yeah, she's been left to the dogs, but she was built very well once upon a time. Raiden. Interesting character. Also, like Ganyu, I was convinced to pull her, even though I wasn't totally sold on her. And I was kind of holding out for Yai Miko, but Yai took a long time to come out, if I remember. She came out like late in the Inazuma 3.0 patches. But yeah, so with Raiden, she's probably the only character I genuinely regret pulling. I rarely ever use her. And she has a catch, R5. She has, you know, okayish artifacts. Enough to where she's putting in the work, you know. Not the best artifacts, but not the worst. No cons. 9, 9, 10. 62, 130, 210 ER, so, you know, reasonable, but yeah, I just don't like her. I don't know. I know that's a very controversial opinion to have, but I've just never seen the purpose in running her, so I'll run it from time to time with Zhanling and Kazuha and just see what I can do, but it's never anything impressive. Nahida. So yeah, Dendro, the character. What else is there to say? So like Kazuha, nothing too impressive. 1000 EM. I sometimes run her as the driver, and I'll switch her out with a Dendro damage bonus goblet. You know, there's some quite fun teams to run with that. And she has sack frags, which I might also switch out too. So yeah, I'll just zoom through these. And if, like I said before, if you want to slow down and dissect my builds for whatever reason, you can. But I don't really see the point. 8, 10, 10. So yeah, she has a fair bit of investment. Nivelle, already went over him. Mona. I used her a little bit back in the day. She doesn't really see too much use. She has an R5 Widsith, so... and a fairly decent build. So, That's a pretty nice flower. Yeah, not the best, but all in all, stat sheet wise, 62, 150, decent ER. The R5's Widsith, C1, and 8, 8, and 10. So she is good for like damage showcases and such, but she doesn't really see so much use anymore, which is sad because she's a cool character. I actually really like her. She's a cool aesthetic. I really like her voice actors, both the English and the Japanese. I haven't really heard the Chinese or any of the others, but yeah, she's cool. She's quirky. Yeah. Moving on to Hu Tao. Hu Tao's somebody I didn't pull straight away either. Because I think it was like the holy trifecta of like Zhao, Hu Tao, and then Ganyu, and I only ever ended up pulling up Zhao. And I left the other two upon their initial release, and I just wasn't sold on Hu Tao. I don't know. I just didn't like it, didn't like her playstyle, didn't like her personality, but like literally all of that changed at some certain point. I just ended up converting to the Church of Hu Tao. I ended up, as you can see, getting her signature. Her signature is fucking insane. I still think it's the best looking weapon in the whole game. It's even better than Alkino's. Fight me. I don't care. C1 for quality of life. And then full investment on the crown. So yeah, I had a full 180. I am an avid Hu Tao enjoyer. Even in this current day and age of Arlecchino supremacy, quote unquote. But you can't deny, you know, Arlecchino probably is the superior unit. But I've invested very well in my Hu Tao, so I didn't get caught in the trap of pulling for Arlecchino and then throwing Hu Tao in the bin. Because she doesn't deserve that treatment, and she is fucking insane. So, 33k HP, so pretty good. 242 alley mastery, not bad either. 70% crit rate to 174. I know those don't look like a typical stats for Hu Tao. But if you take everything into account with the fact that I'm running Shimanawa, and we were leaning more into the LE Mastery side of things. So I'm trying to balance the sheet, and I balanced it as well as I could have. So we got, and I'm not really into running teams that amplify LE Mastery, even though they're a lot more common these days, which is why it's probably better to lean more into crit values than flat LE Mastery, because you can find the buffing potential in a lot of places, but I don't really go for that myself, so I decided to integrate the LE Mastery into the flat build on its own. So yeah, she's looking good. Diona, I actually used her quite a bit back in the day in Abyss. She's got R5 Sacrificial Bow. C6. And 11212. And I have her on nothing at the moment, because I think I actually gave her set to Toma. But she's normally on Noblesse, I think. So, yeah. Hi. So, I got pretty lucky with cons with Kaya, actually. I got a couple of them very early on, and then I decided I'm going to get him on every shop rotation, and I did, and I got lucky with a couple more from Standard Banner, and before I knew it, I had acquired a C6 Kaya. He's actually a lot of fun to run. I also gave him, you know, 110 and 13. And he's on Blizzard Strayer and Shimanawa. I know a lot of people run him on full Blizzard Strayer, but because I like to kind of throw him around in different teams, I found that this was the best approach without having to change artifacts out all the time, which I'm really not a fan of, so I like to farm artifact sets for most of my characters, so they don't have to interchange. And then I gave Ayaka's Mistsplitter to him because he's more deserving of it. Yeah, so I actually, considering he doesn't scale, he doesn't level with crit at all, I managed to get some pretty good crit values. Not, you know, maybe the crit value could have been higher, granted. I wish I could have met 60%. But I'm not actively farming for him, so I'm pretty content with how it's looking now. Consider the fact that he is C6 on a Mistsplitter, so he's putting in the work. Very proud of this Kaya. We got a Kuki Shinobu, C4. So, yeah, I'm pretty content with that. You don't really have to get like a lot of cons for Kuki, for any of you guys that play here. C2 is normally like a good stopping point, but I just ended up getting cons by accident because yeah, that's just how it happens. But holy shit, dude, the 4-piece is lengthy. I've never fucking noticed how much how much they wrote for that. I have it on Dark Iron Sword because it fucking looks badass and it required minimal materials to level. And yeah, it's just a good ass 3-star that not many people own, and it does the job. 917 LE Mastery. Stats nothing to write home about, but yeah, you know. I got her at an 11 and 7. Jingcho? My Jingcho is pretty nice, not gonna lie to you. And I should hope so, because I don't have a Yelan, so he's gotta be doing as much as he can. So we got a R5 sack sword, as you probably would have guessed I would own. Emblem. Let's have a look. Very nice piece. So yeah, all in all, 62, 120 with 200% ER, and 112 and 13 for the talents. C6. He is very, very good. Very good. My Garming. I'm quite proud of my Garming, actually. I run him on, I run him with, Jingcho, and then Bennett for Circle Impact, and then Farina. Because Farina just has to go everywhere to see big numbers. So we got it on Pain Slasher. I'm really glad I got to put this on someone, and it's not just a placeholder, like it's literally one of his best weapons. If you look at any spreadsheet by, anybody that runs the mathematics for this game, for like optimal builds and optimal damage output, this is one of his literal best choices. Up there with Wolf's Gravestone. Got him on the Marechaussee, as you do. So, got him a lot of crit value in these artifacts. Got the LE Mastery Sands, Pyro Damage, Goblet, and then a nice little crown to finish off. So, all in all, you might look at that and think, well, that doesn't look too impressive. 50% crit rate, 164 crit damage, but he's C6, so he gets the 20% crit damage, 20% crit rate and 40% crit damage values, literally constantly, 100% uptime. 12 and 12 on the talents, so this is looking more like 70%, and then over 200%. And then with the Circle Impact and the Farina, he's doing upwards of like 170 to 180k plunges. And it's very fun, very, very fun, especially because of the Rain Slasher. Yeah, very proud of my gaming. Toma, see how it's fine, just a placeholder. Double S. C6. 10 and 10. Yeah. Just does his job. Put him on my Hu Tower team sometimes. Yeah. Bennett. One more is there to say. He's on Aquila. Double S. C6. At 8 and 13. He was my damage carry for most of my early time playing this game, up until I unlocked Zhao at AR45. So yeah, Bennett, he's done a lot for me. He's done a lot for this account. Zhanling, I have an interesting situation with Zhanling. So I barely ever used her, despite knowing how good she is, and the fact that I have a very good Ganyu. I know that's quite puzzling to hear. But it's only because I'm quite depressed that the fact that I've had this account since 1.2 and my Zhanling is C1. I don't know how she is only C1. Considering she's a day 1 character and I'm a day 1, borderline day 1 player, day 2 player if you will. So, but I've still given a fair bit of investment, as you can see. 9 and 9. The emblem pieces are okay. But I haven't spent a great deal of time in that vein, so. And then I have her on a R5 Dragon's Bane. And sometimes I'll switch her, well, if I do use her, like, depending on what, what I'm feeling, I'll put her on Catch or Dragon's Bane or whatever. But yeah, it's just a shame. I wish I could have had, like, a C6 Zhanling like most people, but it is what it is. I don't go out of my way to pull for 4 stars, so, and for some reason she has completely eluded me on the standard banner. Genuinely rarer than Amber, Kaya, and Lisa combined. But yeah, Traveler, don't even run Traveler. But I have I don't know why I put a Sapwood Blade on here. I was running that on Bennett for like a short time until I got Aquila, which I got Aquila maybe like 4 months ago. So yeah, it was one of the last weapons I leveled. D-Luke, I have him C2. I unlocked him quite late, like AR59, and then the cons just kept coming after that. I don't know why, even though the pool had gotten bigger with Tignari and Deha, but the game just kept shoving fucking D-Luke in my face, like, alright buddy. I have him on the fucking fish. Gilded Dreams. The artifacts are okay. And then 388. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but he does okay. Rosaria, similar. Everyone Deathmatch. Blizzard Strayer. C6. 3, 7, 10. And 52 to 169. So yeah, she's okay in her role. I barely ever use her since I have Kaya, but I should probably use her a bit more often. She is very good. Yanfei, I was using her as one of my main DPSs at one point in time. And I had her on Dodoco Tails. I don't know why everyone's going with Atlas now, but I don't know who I gave my Dodoco Tails to, but everyone's Shimenawa, C6, 7, 10, 10. Yeah. Sucrose, I'm really not a fan of Sucrose. One of my first C6s as well. I was quite irritated with getting a lot of copies of her. She's just not a character I like at all. Yeah. Beidou, built here recently just for the sake of having an eligible character to do the hard mode for Season 1 of Imaginarium Theatre. So I put her on this weapon. Have her on Emblem. She's C6. 199.
If you ever want to trade tactics,
yeah.
I'm always ready.
Credit's simply not there, but the ER. Barbara, also one of my. I think she was my first C6 actually. Which I used to run her with Zhao, and whenever Zhao would die, she would just insta resurrect Zhao. So, because that's what his C6 does. She can insta resurrect a member on your team if they die to full HP, like once every 15 minutes. Yeah, Maiden, Throwing Tails. Yeah. And then I think everybody else after this point, I straight up don't use. So I would run Sara if I ran Raiden. But I simply don't, so she has no purpose. Because she's just a niche support unit. Even though she has a very cool character design. Can't fault that. Razor, don't use him. Lisa, Constellation 2, but I don't use her either, because if I want an Electro unit, I just simply use Fischl. Collei, don't use her. Noelle. Kaveh, I recently got a Kaveh copy just for the sake of saying I have Kaveh. Because, you know, he's baby girl. Yeah, I don't plan on using him. Very cool character design as well. I do like Kaveh. Jin Yan. Fucking, what more is there to say? She's genuinely useless. But I got her C6 early on, which is also fucking annoying. Got a lot of undesirable C6 units early. Bit painful. You know. I own an Aloy, woo! And her signature weapon. I could be one of those people that actually build her just because Farina makes her viable now. And actually fixes a lot of the issues with her kit, but I really don't want to go out of my way to do that. I'm just happy enough to see people do it themselves, and, you know, good for you. Good for you, dude. Chi-Chi. I have a C0, you know, so I can't complain. Like one singular copy. Cannot complain. I was not happy at the time, but that was a long time ago. Keqing. C1. Never used her. Yunjin, never used her. Ningguang, Lynette, Farazan. I only have Farazan at C3. If I got a few more constellations, I would consider building her just to, you know, for the sake of my Zhao, my Wanderer. Hazo. Hazo's another cool character, but never really thought about playing him. Oh, he has my Dodo Tails. Interesting. What is... You have Fade and Twilight. You have Dockhand's Assistant. You have Frags, Dragon Spine, Lion's Roar. Okay, right, I'm sidetracking. Why the fuck do you have Ultimate Mega Lord's Magic Sword? Yeah, I could actually. This is like another good weapon for Gaming that I could put, but I'm not really using it right now. Even though I went out of my way to do all the Melazine quests, so that's kind of sad. She's actually C6. Sayu. I don't really use her either. Fremine. Don't use him. Layla, don't use her. Chongyun, don't use him either. Dory. Yao Yao. Carrara, which I got a recent copy of because of the latest event, which is on right now. Which is also why I'm doing this video, because it's kind of like, you know, in between, you know, 4.8 and Natlan arriving, so no better time than to do this. She's C6 as well, actually, Candace. But I just couldn't find a use for her. But she has an excellent character design. Really, really cool. I mean, look at that. It's fucking sick. And then finally Amber, who's C2. And I have her on Windbloom for whatever reason. And I don't really use her. To no surprise. So yeah, that is all my characters. I know that was very lengthy. But I just wanted to flash everything out, because I'm only going to do this once. I'm probably never going to do this again. So yeah, all my best units are probably Farina, Fischl, Kanye, Kazuha, Jean, Ganyu, Nahida, Nivelette, Hu Tao, and Kaya, and then Gaming, and then probably Jingcho as well. So I have a very horizontally invested account. I have a lot of, I have about 7 very well built units, and then about 10 reasonably well built units, and then like 3 or 4 that are okay. So it's looking pretty good. Yeah, so we'll look over all the name cards. And then a quick look at my inventory. So these are all the weapons that I have. So yeah, a lot of R5s, got R5 Greatsword, R5 Bell. I wish I had an R5 Stringless, but that weapon has also kind of eluded me. Sackbow, Rust. I got a lot of copies of Rust as well. I got official signature weapon for physical official. So yeah, all in all, quite impressed with my weapons. Artifacts. But yeah, and yeah, as you can see, all the events there, and got about 5k primos just sitting around, and then six wishes on the side. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. I might just save them for the Pyro Archon or the Pyro Sovereign or whatever. You know, we'll see. We'll see when we get to there. But yeah, that's been my AR60 account review.